All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending our Global Wide Media webinar this morning. We understand that your time is very valuable, and we're not going to try to take up too much of that time with our Fantasy Sports Real Profits webinar. This webinar will probably be about 15 to 20 minutes, and then it'll be followed by some questions by our audience, and we will take it from there. I am Ernest Friesen. I am an account executive with Global Wide Media, and I'm a business development manager. And my partner today is James Metcalf, one of our talented affiliate development managers. James will be speaking with you today about some of the demographics of fantasy sports, the industry as a whole, some of the legalities, and I'll be talking about some of the offers we currently have and which advertisers we're currently working with and onboarding.
Okay, so I'm going to lead off by talking about fantasy sports as an overall industry. So one of the most important stats is the user growth over the last decade plus. As you can see by the first point there, user growth has grown about 45 million in the last decade, and even more so before that. In terms of density on a national basis, 22% of American men play fantasy sports, and 27% of Canadian men play fantasy sports. Noteworthy points because those are two of the major geos for fantasy sports. In terms of money, there's an estimated $2.6 billion entry fees for 2015, and almost more importantly, that's estimated to grow at 41% annually. In terms of constituents of that money, well, average users spend about $465 annually, and in terms of daily usage, there's about 1 million daily users with over $1 billion in prizes awarded. And to further solidify the significance of this industry, major investors are staking their claim, including the NBA, ESPN, and NFL, which are, of course, some of the major administrative bodies in sports, and telecommunications with NBC and Comcast are also involved. In terms of user demographics, probably no surprise, the majority are male at 75%. The average age of them is about 32 to 45. A good point is that the majority of these users are college educated and make a good annual income between $65,000 and $100,000. And a good point for quality of traffic is essentially the passion involved with fantasy sports, in that most of these users are spending 20+ hours a week consuming mainstream sports, watching SportsCenter, reading newspapers, but also studying fantasy sports to make their picks for the daily or weekly contests that these offers present. Just over half play one sport, while the remaining 43% play two sports, which is important because the 43% that play two sports basically elongates the season relative to the one sport. You get users that play 4 or 5 sports, and essentially they're playing year-round, and therefore presenting you with revenue opportunities throughout the entire year. In terms of density and participation by sport, no real surprise, the NFL does dominate at 77%. MLB occupies about 1/3, while NASCAR, the NBA, college football, and the NHL all occupy about 20% of the density. And then the PGA, golf, is about 15%, while soccer is at 12%. And as you can clearly see, these numbers add up to well over 100%, which further demonstrates my point on the previous slide that users are playing in more than one sport. The last area that I'll be discussing before I pass off to Ernest again will be the legal considerations. And in summary, the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act of 2006 played a pivotal role in legalizing fantasy sports. The reason they came to legalizing fantasy sports is that basically fantasy sports is not dependent on a single event. This is because users will select players from different separate games which are independent of each other, and these selected players will have their performance determined on a standardized statistical table, and then therefore the user is basically performing analytics in order to take the best players, and therefore fantasy sports gambling is considered a game of skill rather than a game of chance. That all being said, there are a few states that do prohibit users, and those states include Arizona, Iowa, Louisiana, Montana, and Washington, but it is noteworthy that some of these states are working towards changing that. So I'll pass it off to Ernest, who's going to talk about some of the specific offers that we have.
Excellent. Thank you, James. I'm going to start off with talking about DraftKings. DraftKings is one of our current advertisers, and DraftKings currently is one of the largest operators of fantasy sports contests for cash prizes in all major sports in the United States and Canada. DraftKings really are the kings right now in the market. We currently have a number of offers set up and ready for publishers to pick up, including an iOS CPI. The iOS CPI right now is performing by far and away the best offer that we have, and the pixel fires and the offer converts when the app is installed on any iOS device. It's open to the US and Canada with those same state restrictions that James just covered a moment ago, and it starts at $6.50 with a custom rate available based on the quality of traffic. It's currently open to in-app display, mobile display, and video, and we're hoping to open that up to additional promo methods as we go forward. They also have a CPL for web and Android users. That pixel fires on a successful new user registration that's not an iOS device. It's currently open to the United States and Canada as well, and offers an $8 rate for publishers, and custom rates again are variable and increasable based on the performance of the users. That offer is open to display, inline contextual, mobile display, pop, and video traffic. So DraftKings online and offline marketing efforts should have a terrific influence on user acquisition and your efforts as publishers. NFL football is by far and away the biggest time of year for DraftKings, as it is for all fantasy sports offers. It should present a huge opportunity for you guys, and it's very important that, of course, you stay up to date with the upcoming seasons, like NFL, which starts late August. The rate increases are available, as I mentioned, for all those high-quality leads you plan on sending. And get your campaigns dialed in for that NFL football season. You're probably going to hear me say this a number of times, but NFL football represents by far the biggest opportunity for us. It's very quickly followed by the NBA and NHL as far as the season calendars are concerned. The next advertiser I'm going to touch on is DraftOps. Now, although DraftOps is one of the newest heavyweight contenders to enter this exciting ring and rapidly growing fantasy arena, they are making huge waves both in Canada and the United States. I'm going to touch on a few of those waves that they're making in the next slide, but initially I'd like to quickly review their offers. Right now they have a CPA offer where the pixel fires, and the offer converts on all new user registrations and the deposit of $10 into those user accounts. It's open to the United States and Canada with those same state restrictions, and it starts at a $30 rate, and custom rates are available for quality traffic. It's open to display, pop, search, social, inline contextual, and all mobile traffic. They do have some upcoming exciting offers, including 2 CPI offers for Android and for iOS. Those are due to be released in early August, within the first week or so. They want to be live and ready to go for the start of the NFL season, so that would be an offer I would certainly focus on. That pixel will fire, and the offer is going to convert on the app install. It'll be open to the United States and Canada with a $7 to $8 starter rate and custom rates available based on the performance. Those 2 CPI offers are going to be open to all promotion methods, including adult traffic. So online and offline marketing efforts, just like DraftKings, you should see a positive influence on user acquisition with DraftOps. They recently announced a 3-year deal with the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, the home of the Islanders and the Nets, and it's a prime example of the increased acquisition potential. They also just signed a 3-year deal with the Rich Eisen Show of DirecTV and NFL Now, with Rich Eisen as their spokesperson for DraftOps. Again, NFL football is going to be the biggest opportunity. It will begin at the end of August, and it goes until the first week of February when the Super Bowl comes, followed quickly by the NHL, NBA, and again, just to reiterate, rate increases are available for high-quality traffic. So stay up to date on your upcoming seasons, stay up to date on creative, and we will certainly reward you for that. Upcoming offers also include a variety of other advertisers. FanDuel, FantasyUp, and Yahoo Fantasy are 3 advertisers that we're currently working on onboarding and should have something ready for you guys, I'm hoping, before the end of August.
All right, so I'll just be covering a few basic targeting tips for you guys. So as we said, the major demographic is male, so focus on that. Avoid restricted states: Arizona, Iowa, Louisiana, Montana, and Washington. As I said before, some of these states are working on changing their legislation, but until then, of course, you want to avoid. And as I'm sure you're not surprised, sports is a common interest. However, there are some crossover between social casino games and finance. And as Ernest just said, follow your trends, major events, etc. And in order to keep you updated on that, we have provided you with a sports calendar with the major events for their respective sports and the different offers that they are involved with. Lastly, we would like to open the floor to any questions, so feel free to ask away, and we'll field them for you as they come up.
So one of the questions I can see on there is it only a one-time commission payout? The commission payout currently is set up that way. A user registers for the CPA offer and puts a deposit of $10. The pixel will then fire and commission is paid out to publishers. On the CPI offers, once the app is installed, the pixel fires and the commission is then paid out. There really is no extendable commission paid out for a deposit or user, user use of the app once the app is installed. There is, however, payout increases based on quality. So once a user does install an app, if it's determined that that user is of quality, we can certainly review any pay increases and go back to advertisers and get more payout for our publishers. There's another question that asks, we talked about mobile devices, and are these also available for PC? The CPA offers obviously would be. All users, of course, can be using either their desktop or their mobile device. So once they create and register their user account and deposit, they can use either method. We have a question just to step back to that last slide. I'm guessing that has to do with review of the sports calendar. I can send this out as well to our affiliate management team, and they can distribute that amongst all of their affiliates as well.
We'll keep you updated too with major events that go on.
This webinar is also being recorded, so in the future, if you guys have any further questions or wish to see this again, you're more than welcome to use or to go back and review the webinar a second time, or third or fourth if you wish. Does Facebook allow any fantasy sports offers? The answer is yes. Right now, currently, there is a handful of social advertising, social as a promo method is available. So Facebook currently does allow sports offers. Is that everybody? Any other further questions? Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for your time. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to your affiliate manager here at Global Wide Media. And again, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for your time, guys.